question. We're going to start down here with Mr. Herauf, and then work our way through, and then when we get done with Mr. Rohr, Mr. Herauf will let you make your closing statement first, and then we'll work back through in reverse order to Mr. Serhienko, opposite of how we started. So the question I have for you is about efficiency. Obviously, the business community is always interested in efficiency, and with two communities so close together, there could be opportunities to cooperate on projects and programming. What's your perspective about cooperating, and what's your perspective on the consolidation even of government services between two communities?
You know, I think Bismarck and Mandan could work together. I think if Mandan and Bismarck would put something together, I think Mandan and Bismarck could put a business right here in Mandan. But they need to work together. And I don't see that happening. I think if the two communities would work together, I think we'd have more of efficiency here in Mandan. And I would, being a commissioner, I'd work with that and see if that could happen.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Serhienko, what's your perspective on cooperation and even consolidation of government services?
I'm totally in favor of it. I firmly believe that there's no reason to run all kinds of different agencies if there's a chance that we can combine them. The only thing that you need to be really careful of when you do this is to make sure that the service that you are provided as a result of the consolidation doesn't diminish. I mean, it would do no good to consolidate if Mandan loses. But if we can continue on with the same kind of care, or the same kind of, let's just say law enforcement, or whatever it is that we're talking about here, with no depreciation in service, I'm totally in favor. The other thing, though, that you have to be careful of is that Bismarck is our really big sister, and we may not actually have the same path to getting there. In other words, Mandan might be looking at driving a Chevrolet truck, and they might be looking at a Cadillac Escalade. Well, I'm just trying to make an issue that they have much more in terms of resources than we do, and so sometimes the cooperation or the interaction may not be possible because of those limitations.
Okay, thank you very much. Ms. Frank, your thoughts?
Well, I think everybody sitting up here would want to realize efficiencies in any manner that they can be achieved, and if that includes collaboration with the city of Bismarck, I think it's something that should be investigated. Again, like Jerry had referenced, one thing that we really need to be cognizant of is the fact that our population is 25% of the market. And if we're going into a deal, I'm hoping it's 50-50, not 75-25. So I think that's one thing that we need to be really aware of, is that we're standing up for what Mandan needs and what Mandan deserves out of that relationship. I do think there are some opportunities, and I think there's some evidence of the collaboration that's happened in the past. One area I think that we've seen at work right now is with the Chamber, which is hosting this event. I mean, it's the Bismarck-Mandan Chamber of Commerce. And I'm sure if you ask Calvin or the staff members there, after they joined forces with Mandan's Chamber, they realized some efficiencies in the office. Another good example of an organization that's taking advantage of that is the Bismarck-Mandan Development Association, or the Bismarck-Mandan CDB. And again, those are all organizations that operate on a very streamlined and shallow budget. And so if there's some examples to be sought, it would be speaking to those folks. I think one thing that we could consider taking a look at now, and it's starting to get some attention in the media, is a recycling program. I know that it hasn't been something that's been able to be sustained by each city individually, but maybe that's some opportunity in the near future to collaborate as a service to provide the community as a whole.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Rohr, the question is to you.
Well, there is a need to reshare resources and expertise. There's expertise that Bismarck has that can be very valuable to us. I found out in working with their police department. But we have to be careful too of what we're talking about in terms of whether we combine certain areas or whether we simply share or help each other out in different areas. And we don't want to encumber taxpayers to unnecessary expenses, or create problems in doing combining. Like Jerry said, with the going out, and they have a different view of how they want to spend money compared to what we can afford. So again, it depends on the project and what the issue is. And we have to be very careful in doing that. But we need to share, with others too. We need to look at the county. And we always have to remember that we are in competition with the park board, the school system, the county, the state, and maybe the federal government too, I don't know, for the tax dollar. But, we're all out there, and that taxpayer's standing there, and everybody's out to take a piece out of his wallet. And in doing that, we need to be very careful, and especially on a local level, when you talk about the local park board, school board, and city and county, if any of these entities are going to do something that's really going to impact, the taxes that the person gets in the mail, because when they look at that tax statement, they don't break it down quite often. They say, well, it's the city's raising taxes. But we need to look at that so when things are done, that there's some cooperation or agreement or interaction, knowing that what you do is going to affect me. And so let's kind of work together on this and make sure that we're not getting out of line here, or we're not going to create problems in taxation to the community and to the citizen that we could avoid in certain areas. So I think that's very important.
All right, thank you very much. And before we start the closing statements,